Today, we're laying out the professional roadmap for a career that you have definitely benefited from, even if you never really thought about it: audio-visual translation. So let's break down what it really takes to become one of the pros who bring global entertainment right to your screen.
I mean, just think about it for a sec. That amazing series from Korea you just binged, or that incredible Japanese video game you can't put down. How did it get to you? How did you understand it perfectly, with all the nuance and emotion totally intact? It feels like magic, right? Well, it's not magic. It's an incredibly skilled profession.
And here's the wild part. For the longest time, this was a skill you could only learn on the job. The idea of going to a university to get a formal degree in subtitling a film or dubbing a cartoon, that's actually super new. It really only started becoming a thing in the last couple of decades, as global media just exploded.
So that brings us to our first stop. How exactly did audiovisual translation, or AVT, make the leap from being an informal workplace skill to a serious academic discipline? It's a pretty fascinating journey.
And you know what? This change happened fast. We're talking about the very first specialized university courses popping up in the late 1980s, mostly just for subtitling. By the 90s, it was its own recognized academic field. And from the 2000s until today, the whole thing has blown up to include everything from film dubbing and video game localization to super important accessibility services like audio description.
Okay, so what does it actually take to go pro in this field? Let me tell you, it's a whole lot more than just knowing 2 languages. Modern training is built on a really detailed blueprint of specific skills and abilities you've got to have. And at the very heart of this blueprint is something called the competence-based model. Now, this isn't about just memorizing a bunch of theory from a textbook. No, this is all about building the practical, real-world skills you're going to use every single day. It's the difference between knowing about translation and knowing how to actually do it from day one.
So what are these core skills? Well, it all starts with the foundation: language and culture. You need to know the language you're translating into inside and out, like a native. But just as important is mastering the source language, and, this is critical, deeply understanding both cultures. That's how you catch the inside jokes, the slang, and the cultural references that make a show feel real. If you mess that up, you don't just lose a joke, you can completely break the story for the viewer.
Then, on top of that foundation, you build a toolkit of very specific techniques. And we're not talking about just one skill here. You have to master the art of concise subtitling, get the timing of voiceovers just right, tackle the incredibly precise challenge of lip-sync dubbing, and even get into the technical weeds of localizing software and video games.
And finally, there's the professional edge. This is what really separates the pros from the amateurs. You have to be a wizard with specialized software. You've got to work well in a team, manage complex projects and tight deadlines, and have killer research skills. See, you're not just a linguist, you're also a tech-savvy project manager.
Okay, I know, that sounds like a lot. But the good news is that modern training programs are actually structured to build these skills one step at a time. So, let's walk through the typical 4-phase journey you'd take.
This whole roadmap is just a logical progression. It's designed to take you from the ground up, starting with the absolute fundamentals, moving you into hands-on practice, then throwing you into real-world projects, and finally getting you ready for the business side of the job. In those first 2 phases, you're really just building your base. You'll learn the rules of the game, the technical limits of subtitles, the history of dubbing, and you'll start to get your hands dirty with practice exercises, analyzing scripts, and just learning your way around all the essential software.
And here's a perfect example of how that works. Take dubbing. A good trainer won't throw a complex, dramatic film at you on day one. No way. You'll start with something simpler, like cartoons for kids, where the language is pretty basic. Then you'll graduate to fast-paced sitcoms with tricky cultural jokes. And only then will you tackle the final boss, getting a perfect lip sync on a big-budget movie. It's a brilliant, step-by-step way to master a really, really difficult art.
So in those final 2 phases, the training wheels come right off. You'll start working on complete, full-scale projects that simulate a real, professional environment. And then the focus shifts to actually becoming a professional. This means learning about industry workflows, what the standard payment rates are, and even how to write a CV that'll actually get you hired.
So what does a translator's digital workshop actually look like? What are the key tools and, more importantly, the cool materials you'll get to work with? Well, when you're just starting out, you'll probably use free software, things like Subtitle Workshop or AG-Sub, just to learn the basics of timing and formatting subtitles. But as you level up, you'll get your hands on the powerful, specialized software that the major studios and big localization companies use for all their professional dubbing, gaming, and commercial projects.
And honestly, the best part, the material you actually get to work on is the stuff you already love. I'm talking about hit TV series and box sets, incredible documentaries, feature films, cartoons, and of course, massive video game worlds. This is not some dry academic exercise. It's you getting to engage directly with popular culture.
Okay, so we've seen how the whole field has evolved, what skills you need, and what that training journey looks like. Let's bring it all together and talk about what it really means to launch a career as a pro in this space.
So, what is a modern audiovisual translator? It means you're not just one thing. You are this unique blend of language master, tech expert, and cultural detective. You are the essential and often invisible link that allows stories and ideas to cross borders and connect all of us.
So I'll leave you with this question. In a world that's more connected than ever, with a literally endless stream of stories just waiting to be shared, what stories will you help the world understand?